Hello, hello. It's Jan Denning here from the Hospitality Partnership. Hope everybody is doing well, enjoying the sunshine. It's lovely and sunny here today, and it's supposed to be a really nice week all this week as well. So that's great news. And to add a little bit more sunshine, I'm going to introduce you to one of our fabulous associate partners, who is Teri Gardiner from Food Safety Consulting. Now, I'm not going to tell you all about food safety consulting. I'm going to pass you straight over to Teri, who can tell us, so what is it and what's it about? Over to you, Teri.
Hi there, Jan. Great to be here and great to be an associate partner with the Hospitality Partnership. So, food safety consulting is a highly complementary skill set to have within the partnership, and what Food Safety Consulting will do is support businesses in hospitality and manufacturing or care. Anywhere that manufactures or serves food to customers or to residents, Food Safety Consulting can help you. What is required by all facilities is that you're legally obligated to have a food safety plan in place. Now, that sounds dead obvious, but believe it or not everybody has it. And then they all don't know how to get it either. So you either have somebody in your staff that can do this for you and is qualified to do it, that's also important, or you bring somebody in to help you get it established. And that could be where food safety consulting can be a benefit to you. Or you could just torture yourself in the mire of, I've got to do this, I don't know where to start, oh, I'll just start without it. Don't do that. Get somebody else in to keep you right. It's always better to get it right as early as possible, rather than get it wrong and receive the wrath of the law, or indeed cause significant or fatal harm to somebody. So that's where, now that I've cheered you up, that's where food safety consulting can come in. We can create a food safety plan for your business, specific to the size and scale of your business. And then to support that, we can also roll out some food safety training for you.
So let me just take you back then. So first of all then, for that compliance bit, that you need all of those food safety plans documented and robust, and bearing in mind that right now all of those general managers that have probably aged no end over the past year are having to be experts in every single area of the business, you could actually take that, at least that one hassle away from them, and you can create all of that, making sure that they're compliant. You can write the food safety plan for them and just check the processes. Would that be right?
That's absolutely right, Jan, and it won't always be on the front of other people's agenda, you know, when they're recruiting staff and they're trying to get their facility and all that. So this really does have to be done. It is a legal obligation. You might not have the expertise. I can do that for you. I or one of the team can do that for you. No problem at all. And we'll also do it expertly and swiftly for you. So there is no pain. You don't have to be fretting over it or indeed getting it wrong, which is what we want to avoid. So get somebody else in to do that for you.
Yeah, which is key right now. You know, everybody's looking for something that's really done professionally, to take that pain away and to do it quickly and efficiently, and then it's done. But that doesn't mean to say that that document just dies a death. It should be a living document, I guess, where you can go in and just check that it's always updated, you know, because legislation changes, staff change, menus change. So it'd be good, like, then to get you in at ad hoc times to make sure that that's always up to date. Yeah.
You're totally on point there, Jan. And what many facilities that do have it there is it's in a folder, it's sitting on the shelf. They don't even know where it is, who wrote it, because chances are whoever wrote it or prepared it for you, they're not part of your business anymore, and it's actually significantly outdated. So don't let that happen. It really doesn't take much just to dust it down and get somebody to sense check it for you. Indeed, you might actually have everything there that you need. Just make sure it's up to date and current, and then actually to bring it to life. And that's one of the unique selling points for food safety consulting. You know, it's bringing that energy in, bringing it to life, demystifying it, because it actually frightens the life out of some people if when you call it a food safety plan or a HACCP plan, it's like, oh my goodness, and people just go like that. Yeah. We'll do exactly the opposite. We'll demystify, we'll make it as simple as possible, and in fact, you've probably already got most of what you need. Just get it sense checked and make sure that it's there. And once it's there and keep it alive.
Yeah, and I think as well, right now with kind of this roadmap out of the pandemic that we've been going through for the past year, we know from speaking to all the different people that we've been speaking to, all of us within the hospitality partnership, that confidence is key. So any message of confidence that your guest, your supplier is safe when they visit you is absolutely key right now. And that includes like food safety compliance. And what a great message that you can put out on your digital marketing, your social media marketing, to say, just had a great food safety compliance record, all updated. We are now fully compliant. We are, you know, all of those positive points. So it's another box to tick for compliance and confidence, isn't it, really?
It definitely is, Jan, and particularly for smaller businesses where they don't have the skill set to bring in and have there as a resident. Get somebody else in, they can come in as like, you know, as part of the hospitality, but it's your go-to service provider. You take it as you need it, that's all. And you can also have somebody there on the back burner, you know, that you can always call. They are your go-to food safety person or your food safety, you know, business. I need to check this, I need to check this. So you're not paying them on the books the whole time. They're just there. You know that they're highly qualified. You know that they're experts in their field, and that's all you need to. It's like when you take your car for a service. You know, yeah, maybe you know how to do this, but you've actually got to get somebody else to keep it legal and just make sure that it's safe. Then after, you just do it. You know, and it's pretty much the same thing. Unlike some of the big manufacturing businesses, they might actually have a resident individual. I used to be that resident in some of the big manufacturers, and that was great. But there were so many other things to look at, not just the food safety plan, there was all these other things. So now we concentrate specifically on the food safety aspect, the training aspect, and to get the business systems, you know, such that they're actually serving you instead of becoming an absolute nightmare. You know, old folders here, oh, that's 25 years old. That's not going to save you in court should the time come. That's not serving your business. Why do you even have it? You know, get somebody in to give it that spring clean and make sure that it's actually working for you. And once you actually get your house in order, it's really easy to keep it in order. So it's really just a spring clean, dust it all down and bring it to life, so that when we are all back up and running, you're actually in the business of doing business instead of worried about this or falling behind on this, or genuinely putting yourself and your business and your consumers, you know, at risk. You know, why would you don't do it? Just start off on the right footing, or indeed get somebody else in if it's been a while, get it sense checked. It's not rocket science, you know, just
get the expert in. And because they're not going to be a full-time person in that business, you're also going to save money as well, aren't you, really?
Absolutely. And then, you know, when you do have something big coming up, or you've got anything new, a new menu plan, what do you need to think about? What safety messages do you need to include there? Then you have that dialogue again, and somebody else can keep you absolutely right, so that you're putting the right messages out to your clientele all of the time. You grow in confidence, your customer base grow in confidence, and your business just goes from strength to strength, and you don't have to be worrying in the background.
Yeah, it sounds ideal, doesn't it? So that goes in nicely then to training. So you've gone in there, you've made sure that they're all compliant, you've made sure that all the team understand it, they know where the file is as well, to keep it updated. How can you ensure then through the training that that's continued? What kind of training do you do?
Well, there's a number of training options there, and the first and possibly the most important one, Jan, is an introduction to food hygiene, also known as food safety. We really can't take this for granted. Anybody who is handling or serving food has to have some level of training. So the basic one you can do is the introduction. It's 2 hours long. For anybody who's even serving the food, make sure that they have this and that you can demonstrate that your staff have that. And thereafter, the training, you know, from food safety consulting, it'll be such fun. You know, and then thereafter, everybody knows that they're accountable for that. They're responsible for making sure that they are, for your business, conducting it hygienically, and the recipients on the other end are very safe as well. But everybody, it's all about engagement as well, Jan. So it's not just a case of, oh, there's a training file, go and read that. Absolutely not. That means nothing to people you know, bring it to life, engage the people, make them feel part of it, allow them to ask questions, you know, and sometimes they say, oh, this is a really silly question, you know, so I'm not going to use the old adage that, you know, whatever a silly question may or may not be, but at least they're participating and they feel part of it. And most often they'll ask a question that they actually already know the answer to, but just being able to sense check it, and ideally within a group so everybody's hearing the same questions and also the same answers and thinking, oh, I thought that is, then they all just, it kind of unifies the learning. And when you're doing it together in a group, whether it's a smaller group or a bit of a bigger group, you're all hearing it at the same time. So you therefore actually support each other in your learning. And then when you're working, you think, oh, no, that's, no, remember that's, you know, so it's a bit of fun as well. It's not just work. You know, it's so important to enjoy what you do. So whether that's learning as part of the job or doing the job and just keeping each other right. So there's lots of different ways of learning. So I would say at least make sure you've got the introduction to food hygiene in. You can then go to an elementary level, which is a longer course, a bit more in depth for cooks, chefs, you know, a bit more detailed, or manufacturers for that. There's also business systems, you know, how are your systems, you know, where are your files, where's your records, your cleaning, what does that look like, and is it a mess? And a lot of people will say, oh, it's a mess, you know. And so let's just have a quick look at that as well. If you want, tidy it up a bit, bring it, get rid of the dross that's weighing your system down and clouding your view and all that. Let's just separate the wheat from the chaff and get in what you need, get rid of what you don't need, and just bring it to life, keep it strong, and take out anything you don't need.
Sounds perfect, doesn't it? So on the training then, does it always have to be on site, or can you work with, say there was a group of hotels where they might have, say for example, 7 hotels within the group? Would you be able to train them as a group, or would you go to each of the individual hotels individually?
That's a very good question. And the answer to that is what works best for the client. Absolutely, we're all become a lot better versed in doing things remotely, even in collaboration. So for those of us who have learned how to use cloud working and collaborative working, you know, sharing documents and things like that, this is now becoming second nature for some people, not so much for other people. So absolutely, the on-site review of the plan can happen, the on-site training can happen, but the planet continues to be in geographical challenges, where we can go and where we can't go. So the wonderful thing about it is even the plans and the training can all be done on site or out with the site. So it can be done virtually, we'll say virtually, like a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting, or it can even be done by e-learning. So it's what suits the business best. So if you've got one individual, you know, maybe e-learning at their own pace. If you've got a group, it's so wonderful when people come together in a group, the magic actually happens, you know. So it's really whatever is specific to the business. But one thing that the wider companies do have is if they want to make it uniform, that's even better. You can't be in 7 locations simultaneously unless you're doing this. In which case you absolutely can. You can speak to the people you need to speak with. They can be wherever they are, so it's convenient for them. There's no time lost in travel, there's no expense lost in travel, and you get the right people in the same place. They can actually, even if they're on 7 different locations, be hearing the same things, you know, live. So we just have to open it up, what works best for the individual businesses, and give the individual business what they need.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it doesn't matter what service you offer, it's all about listening to your customer. What does your customer need? How are you going to deliver it? So that's really good to know. So tell me then, on all of the training, is it just kitchen staff, or is it any food handler, or who should be involved in any training sessions?
We would think that it's the kitchen staff, okay, and that's a good thought because it is indeed entirely correct. So it would definitely start there with individuals who are bringing the food in or preparing the food or plating the food up. So that's absolutely paramount to ensure that that is in place first. If you had a pecking order, that would be first. And then after, even your waiting staff, If it's just the introduction training, at least it gives them a bit of a broader view. You know, they'll know what hygienic is, and trust me, one individual's impression of what hygiene is, or safety or hygienic is actually quite different from another person's. So it's prudent for any servers, you know, whether it's a bar or counter staff, at least do the 2-hour training. It's an investment in the individual, and it's an investment in your business. If anything undesirable does happen, and it really can happen, you would be able to demonstrate that whoever you've got in there has been through training. So one, the chances of anything nasty happening are significantly reduced because you have trained them. You have invested in them. They will feel invested in. You're protecting your business already. So the chances of anything nasty happening are significantly reduced, and that's a great place to be, prevention. However, if you were finding yourself on the other end of the environmental health or the judge, demonstrate what you did to minimise the risk. Demonstrate what your business did to ensure the safety of the end consumer. And if you don't have anything to demonstrate, well, that can be a very unpleasant position to be in. Why would you take that chance of anything nasty happening? Why would you take the chance of exposing your business to large vulnerabilities, closures, fatalities? It really does happen. So anybody serving food for, you know, an introductory course for, you know, super short 1 hour, normal 2 hours, I would say that would be a minimum.
And it's a great investment for the employer to show their investment in that employee, not as like I was alluding to, just the kitchen staff, you know, yes. Those food handlers, the waiting staff. In my opinion, it should be everybody in the organisation really, where they're serving food and beverage. But it's a great investment into their learning and development record as well, and it shows you that you're a really good employer to work for. And also, is there an accreditation when they've taken, whether it's a 1 hour course or a 10-hour course or whatever, is there an accreditation to the individual on this as well?
Absolutely, all courses are nationally accredited, so it's not a food safety consulting made-up course. This is something that's made up. It doesn't really matter whether it's the English or the Irish or the Scottish authority. The principles are the same, so it will be nationally accredited too. That's the funny thing about food, you know. We've always needed it, we're always going to need it. There might be new risks emerging and stuff like that, but the principles are actually remaining the same. We've just got to do them. And another key point to remember, and you know, the managers out there, you know, will know too well, perhaps will not want to really put their hands up and say, yes, that happens a lot, but it will. When you're crossing staff over from one function to another, you know, and you know, you're short in the kitchen. Oh, well, James can do that, or Tony can do that, or you know, Matilda can jump in here. Okay, and of course they can, because you know, we all know how to go into kitchens, but have they had at least the minimum of training? Because that's where the risk is. The risks are not always there when you've got your core team. The risks are greater when something, you know, unusual happens, or a stress happens, or you know, something is stressing your business, and you know, well, we've all got them and they're always going to be there. So if you roll out the training, you can have the ability to cross over with less risk moving forward.
And great to have on your CV as well, with all this accreditation that they'll get. What a great thing to have on your CV, to say that you understand food safety as well. I was just going to ask you something then, what was it? So yeah, as everybody's like seeing on social media, get ready to open, prepare to open, but really now is the time to get, as you said, this kind of, and it's not boring, but to quote your word, all this boring stuff out of the way, so that when you open your doors to your guests, that is there. Your staff know where it is from the minute that door opens, and then the rest of the training program can carry on as and when that can all be scheduled in with your learning and development department. So would that be your advice? Just get it sorted now, but I guess they'll need to book you really quickly as well, because
yeah, I would say
having the same idea of
definitely it's preparation, Jan, and you know, some of it will be second nature to most of the people that are there. And the other thing is, it then becomes, the food safety plan then becomes a reference point. You know, so you don't have to remember it, you just need to, yeah, did that training, you will remember X amount of it and then forget it, you know, but there will always be a reference point that's actually up to date and accurate, you know, and then you'll always have food safety consulting to come back to, is there any questions, you know, so really they're really, I would encourage people to have a business partner. Now, you may have a meeting with that business partner, you know, or the establishment once every quarter or once every 6 months, but have them there. You know, you can even say we have a, you know, a food safety specialist, you know, and that really just means they're the caretaker, they're your champion, and they're guiding you. They don't have to live there, you know, although particularly if you have a really nice hotel, I'd be happy to come and you know,
I'll come with you.
You know, but it's just take what you need, you know, when you need it, and you know, absolutely say, you know, this is our acting head of food safety, or this is our food safety specialist, and that would be a legal thing to say because it would be true.
Yeah. And great to include in, you know, employee and team appraisals as well, you know, to keep it current all the time. So it's a great KPI. So I think for that, it's really worthwhile as well. And like I said before, it just shows your investment in that employee, and then you show that investment into that employee, then you will get what they deliver tenfold back, because they will really appreciate you working for them and developing them in this way. So to close then, what should they do next to get compliant, have their health and food safety processes all looked at? What's the next step that they need to do?
Check that you have a food safety plan. Check what the date is on it. If you've been closed down for, well, during the pandemic, you know, the chances are it's maybe a bit old. So just give me a call, you know, share it with me. I'll have a look at it with you. We'll sense check it, we'll get it updated. It really is that simple. And thereafter you can roll it out. Now, before the doors open, you know, stop it from happening. It does happen. There have been care homes that have made elderly people very sick and killed people. There have been restaurants and cafes, you know, that have, sadly, that there have been fatalities. If I mentioned the Pret a Manger, you know, with the allergen within the sandwich that was taken. And there's a big case study that came to light again recently, the Peanut Corporation of America, enormous business. And they actually put salmonella out into the marketplace and harmed thousands of people, and they also killed people. Now they're a big business. It doesn't matter how big or how small a business is. The principles, I swear, are exactly the same. Look after your business, look after your people.
Well, that's kind of crossing over into that employment law as well, isn't it? And that can be so costly. I mean, cost millions and millions and millions. So I guess a good sentence to end on is prevention is absolutely better than the cure.
Yeah, and just to, this was so significant to me recently, the Peanut Corporation of America, one of the key individuals in there was sentenced to 28 years in prison, and another one to 20 years, and others also had sentences. But they ran into losses that they were accountable, reported between £1 and £200 million. Of course, they didn't survive that. Some of the customers were extremely ill and hospitalised. Some of them died. Some of them didn't survive that. You know, there are so many horror type stories, and I'm not going to overdraft, but it does happen. Just protect your business. Prevention is absolutely better than cure. So that is probably the key thing.
Yeah, prevention is better than cure, prevention is better than the cost, and ignorance is absolutely not an excuse, especially when they can bring in the experts such as yourself, Teri.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there we have it, folks. We'll be putting this out and exactly how to get in touch with Teri, so that you can speak to her. That costs nothing to speak to to her and gain some of her expertise. So do reach out and speak to Teri, and then let's get that bit sorted for you so that you can concentrate on enjoying all those lovely customers coming in and eating all your food and sampling all your drinks in the future. So thank you so much, Teri.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you.